Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a great week. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up a tub for your new snake. Sometimes setting up a single tub is the most affordable way to get started with an enclosure for your snake. Single tub setups can be very useful if you don't have a rack system or anything like that as of yet. I know that's something that we started out with when, before we got this hatchling rack back here and our 5-tub adult rack over there. Sometimes when you're just starting out with keeping, you may not want to spend a bunch of money on a big glass vivarium or terrarium, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need a permanent marker, something like these meal prep food storage containers to make hides or humidity boxes out of. You're also going to need a water dish. These were found in the cat section at Walmart. Also, your substrate that you need for the type of snake you'll be housing in here. These hefty tubs from Walmart are actually a really good size. They're 40 quart. Excuse my dog, he's very excited about anything I do. This size is really good for baby ball pythons and a lot of colubrids, from babies to adults. It really just depends on the size of your snake that you're going to be housing in here. This could be a temporary setup for, say, a snake that's going to eventually get larger, or it could be a permanent setup for a snake that would easily fit in here and have plenty of room. I would definitely make sure whatever tub you choose that it has at least 2 good sturdy latches on either side. I prefer 4 latches, but these 2 latch tubs work. Tubs without latches like this would be very easy for the snake to push its way out of. The lids on these hefty tubs are really good, and it's literally got a 3-notch latch where it makes it a lot easier to make sure that it's secure when you put the latch on. You're going to need holes for oxygen on all 4 sides of your tub. That's where the permanent marker comes in. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just basically marking the holes where I want them, and I'm making sure that they are spaced about 2 to 3 inches apart on all sides. And also you're going to need a soldering iron or something to be able to poke the holes in there. I would imagine that using a pin or a screwdriver might be too hard. This is actually something I have my husband do once I mark all the holes, and you can also add more holes if you need to adjust humidity. I wanted to get Nessie out for you guys. I don't really know if I've done a video on her as of yet, but she is our rescue bearded dragon we got from someone that was looking for a home for her. She's really awesome. We don't know her exact age, but we know that she's pretty elderly, but she's really sweet, and we're glad to have given her a home. We actually have 2 new additions coming next week. I'm supposed to pick both of them up next Thursday. I'm super excited. If you've been following our Instagram, you have seen the update on that with the photos I shared. I invested in an adult pair of proven breeder corn snakes, a female salmon snow, and a male tessera that is het first. So many different cool genes that I want to work with when it comes to corn snakes. So I'm super duper excited to get those new additions in next week. And those 2 snakes are actually the 2 snakes that I'm going to be setting up these tubs for today. So I wanted to go ahead and do that this week so they can have everything going and make sure everything's ready for them, all the equipment's working. And I will be doing another video showing you those guys after I go pick them up. Probably do an unboxing video on them. I think that would really be a fun thing to do. But I'm so excited to get into a corn snake project. It's something that I've thought about doing for a long time because I've always loved corn snakes and I never got around to doing it. So I'm very, very excited about that, and hopefully we'll get some corn snake babies soon this season. Okay, sorry for the interruption there. I wanted you to meet Nessie, and I wanted to tell you about the new snakes we're putting in these tubs. So these food storage containers, they're made of plastic. They look a lot like what you would get at like a Chinese restaurant, but they make excellent hides. They're black, which is uniform, it's simple. I usually like all of my hides to be black or some sort of dark solid color. That really helps the snake to feel really secure and in the dark when they're inside the hide. These can also be used for like humid hides when the snake needs to shed. You can put some sphagnum moss in there that's damp. They can also be used for lay boxes. You can actually cut a hole somewhere in the top, and obviously you want to sand it down on the edges to make sure it wouldn't cut the snake. If you don't know what a lay box is, it's basically somewhere that you're creating for the snake to lay their eggs if they are the type that needs a lay box when you're breeding. You're going to need some scissors because this is what you're going to cut the opening to your hide with. You can also decide, what side of the hide you want your opening to be on. I usually don't do it in the middle. I usually do it on either the left or the right side, but you can do it in the middle if you want to. So as you can see, here is the piece that I actually cut out. I did at least like a 2 to 3 inch wide opening because I want the snake to have plenty of room to go in and out. You don't want them to be squeezing in there. This is a sanding block. This is what you're going to use to sand the edges of the opening so that when your snake goes in and out of the hide, there's nothing cutting them, there's nothing scraping them. This is what you can do if you want to put the lid on the bottom and flip it over and turn it into a humidity box or a lay box this way. Now I have all the oxygen holes in my tubs, and I have my tubs upstairs where they're going to be. I have them sitting on this TV stand that my mom gave me. Thanks, Mom! You definitely want to make sure that they're on a surface that's going to be able to withstand your heat mat. This is the thermostat and heat mat combo packs that I ordered off of Amazon. I really like the BN Link brand. It's worked very well. We actually have a BN Link thermostat that runs our adult rack that we got at a reptile show. On the back it shows you a temperature and species guideline chart, and it's really helpful if you want to know what temperature you need to set it at. When you're looking at your thermostat, when it comes to the buttons and the screen and everything, you're going to have a set button to set your temperature, an up and down button. You're going to hit the set button and hold it down for 3 seconds. Choose your temperature, and then you're going to hit it once again to set it. Some thermostats work a little bit differently. This right here is actually the plug that will go into the wall. This is the plug to the thermostat. This is the temperature probe. This probe is actually going to be sandwiched between the bottom of your enclosure and the heat mat to accurately give you the temperature that the heat mat is at. It is always very important to have a thermostat that will run along with your heat mat plugged into it. This heat mat has an adhesive on the back, but I also like to take some scissors and add some aluminum tape that's actually made to withstand heat to actually make sure that it's, really held on the bottom of the tub very good. When you flip your tub over, this is basically where you want to kind of position your probe because like I said, you're going to sandwich it in between the bottom of the tub and your heat mat. So go ahead and place it where you want to. You kind of want to try to get it in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect though. And this is basically how it's going to go on there once I remove this adhesive. And this is what it looks like when it's on here. The probe is under the mat in between and it's aluminum taped down. I have flipped it over to show you what the probe looks like in between the tub and the heat mat. Once I add my substrate in, I actually also like to add a paper towel where the snake is going to be sitting on top of the heat mat because I just like to have an extra little barrier there in case the thermostat were to ever fail, and it would just prevent the snake's belly from getting burned until I could assess the situation. Basically what I'm doing now is I'm finishing covering up where the paper towel is, and I'm just making sure that there is enough substrate in here. For certain snakes you might need to put a little bit more, have it a little bit deeper so they can burrow. A perfect example would be something like a Kenyan sand boa that naturally likes to burrow. Now all I'm doing is I'm adding my hide on top of where the heat mat is going to go. You can add some plants in here for some enrichment if you like. You don't have to. A lot of breeders don't add anything. Having a tool like a temp gun like this is going to help you whenever you need to come back up here and check and make sure that your temperatures are where they need to be. You want to go ahead and set your thermostat at what you need to for the species of snake, and then come back up here a little bit later and check. You'll also need some sort of humidity gauge or temperature gauge, mainly humidity gauge. If you've got the temp gun, you can use that. I've heard these are terrible from pet stores. Some people still use them. I use the digital ones so you can get off of Amazon. Alright, so I'm showing you this again just for clarification. This is the plug to the thermostat that actually goes in the wall. This is the plug to the heat mat that goes into the thermostat, so make sure that you get that correct before you turn it on. Okay, so corn snakes needed between 80 and 85 on their hot spot, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to 85, and then I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to check later with my temp gun and make sure that everything looks good, like everything's running correctly. You can see very shortly after I have set it to 85, it will begin to go up from 75. 75 is about the default degree setting that a lot of these are on. So as you can see, the temperature is now climbing. It will climb to 85 and it will sometimes gravitate 2 degrees or so, but as long as it stays where you set it at and close to that, that's what you're looking for. After that, you are pretty much all set with everything. You want to have your thermostat where you can visibly see it and adjust it right next to your tubs. And then of course you want to make sure that you do add your water dish in there. You can either put it in the corner, you can put it somewhere in the middle. It really doesn't matter, as long as the snake has at least a small water dish they can drink from and partially soak in. And that is how you do a single tub setup.